I think one of Oklahoma's thoughts was to put the tight end, which they had not shown. They put the tight end at the number one receiver, and they brought CD, that was normally the number one receiver. They brought him in, and I think that was their way of getting a breather from our two corners. And so I think that maybe happened for a series or two until it became pretty evident that this is what they're doing. And it was after that we just matched it up. So the corner would go with CD, and then the safety would find the tight end. And so if there's things like that happen within a game, that's not that big of a deal. But if we have a corner on a receiver and we can play to our certain sides that we're used to, with all the other calls that come with it, that works out good. That works out the best. If there's that issue or this issue or something like that, then there's always a plan to get a certain guy matched up on him. And then the follow-up to that would be to double the guy or bracket him. So that's usually a common thought into a game.
Is Clemson balanced enough where you might just play him straight up and not overplay one guy just because they have so many guys?
Yeah, each of them concern you. I think the run game is the first thing that concerns you. And so I think, having hats for ATM and having the ability to play the edges right on the zone reads with Trevor Lawrence, he'll keep off those zone reads more than anyone we've seen. And it's a dangerous situation. And so you want to be able to take care of that first, I feel. And then, if there's situations that come up and say the rhythm of a game or the flow of the game to where, we can afford a mix or a change up in coverage where we're doubling this guy or doubling that guy, some of it by down and distance, maybe some of it by formation, that would be the thought.
What's your assessment of the Clemson wideouts and how you see that matchup with your DBs kind of playing out?
Yeah, long, athletic, a lot of I got mossed type stuff. I think they're at their best when they have off coverage. I think the majority of the looks they get in their league is that. I think Ohio State was, outside of perhaps Syracuse, was the first to really press them. And they found their answers as that game went on. So they adjusted. I think that's one of the strengths with Clemson is they've got great skilled players, but they're a lot of respect for their coaches and how they see it and how they react to it. Oklahoma was similar when we played them. I think their entire league played them off. I don't think anyone pressed them until we played them. And so I think, there's strengths and minuses. There's plus and minuses with that. In the Oklahoma game, we pressed early. I think they were looking for quarters coverage for shots, and they did get one of them. And we tried not to give that to them. And then their rebuttal was rubs and picks, standard stuff that comes with man coverage. And so we had kind of a mixed bag as far as defending that. And so I imagine, having said that, and having that first game versus Ohio State where they're getting pressed, I think all of those things are in store for us in this upcoming game.
Dave, what do you find to be the fine line between creating pressure and then trying to keep Lawrence in a focus? Because I would imagine, like you had said, if you pressure him too much and he gets outside contained, then he's maybe at his most dangerous. But how do you still try to make him feel like you're there and contain him at the same time?
No, that's a good question. I think, I think the standard five-man rush is what would struggle there. And this is probably, I don't want to get off the philosophical bent, but and we do have five-man pressure in our package here, but you bring five guys, there is a gap that will be available in terms of the pass protection. And then, they pick it up with their five. The running back is a major threat of getting out. And so if the running back were to stay in, there'd be, in a five-man rush, a guy that's got that running back sitting over the ball that could somewhat, be available if the quarterback got out. But like our offense, Clemson does a great job of identifying that and seeing it. There are no, let's just see what happens. And so they'll get the back out, and then we'll be drained. And there'll be nobody underneath. And then there's a fair amount of that on their tape where they've taken advantage of that. So instead, the ability to rush, create in a creative way, 4 guys, attack protections, and get pressure, and have the quarterback feel the pressure, but then have a guy drop in as a rat or as a hole defender. So if the quarterback were to get out, there's someone sitting there. Now, when you're doing that, there is an element of risk with the pass rush lanes because of the contain of a 3 technique or the contain of somebody that isn't on the line of scrimmage. You know what I mean? And so that's a big part of what we've been and what we're going to aim to do here coming up. But you watch that 3rd down reel, man. He gets out of the pocket a lot and throws it to his right, throws it to his left. I think the receivers do a great job of scramble drill and work. If they're down, they work up. If they're left, they work right, and all of it. And we've been practicing that and all of it. And I think it's best defended when the quarterback don't get out.
Coach Aranda, I would imagine when you watch his tape, there's a lot of
there's a lot of how do you make that throw, or how do they make that catch. That's one of the things that strikes you right off the bat when you watch him. There's times he's scrambling to his left, throws against his body, puts it right in the perfect spot. The guy gets up and grabs it, and you got to pause a little bit when you see stuff like that. And those are in critical times. That's a big play in the game. And so you want to stay away from those things if you can.
Coach Aranda, you've had Stingley for almost a year now. I know you've had a lot of great cornerbacks, coached a lot of them on different levels. What makes Derek stand out or makes him different than all these other ones?
I appreciate his confidence. There's an ease about him, a calm, collected confidence would be the things I would say. When he has had struggles, he's come back the next series and hasn't let it affect him. The big stages, the big lights hasn't affected him. I think the matchups hasn't affected him. And I think that mental part of it, I give credit to his folks and the way that he was brought up, because he's going to walk into a room and want to pick out the best guy to cover and be first in line to cover him. So you appreciate that when you're playing man coverage, But any blitz that we got where he rushes, or any zone that we've got where we need him to tackle, he's great there, And so I think when you have a guy that's as skilled as he is, and the intangibles are all lined up and where they need to be, that's very rare.